Hello, Assalamu alaikum everybody. Hope you're all safe, sound, and healthy. And I am not. In fact, despite the fact that I kept on disregarding the whole thing, every time I felt like picking up the mic, and then I was like, yeah, what am I supposed to say? Seriously, I'm, going to be yapping about the weather, seriously. But I mean, seriously, okay, this is the second monsoon that has been horrendous. A monsoon where it's not raining properly. I don't know where the hell it's raining over here, but as usual on my side, it's not raining. Okay, my side of the city, nada, zilch, zippo, and I'm getting very fed up of it. I was actually feeling optimistic this year because the year actually transitioned very well, the seasons transitioned very well, everything actually seemed a bit normal, and I was like, oh, maybe we're in that year. Remember, I said there are alternating years where you have a couple of years that are too humid with high precipitation levels, zero, you know, zero comfort levels, a zero rain in the sense that, the considering the amount of precipitation present in the air. And then you have one year where everything's normal. So this year started out very normal, and we actually had very good proper rains just before Eid. And as you know, if you've listened to my previous podcasts, from exactly Eid day onwards, it's been heat wave after heat wave, and then the humidity started, and you're like, oh, okay. And then everybody was like, oh, it's going to rain on the weekend. Zilch. Okay. And then T-storms, get an umbrella, 2:45 a.m. T-storm, zilch. Okay, and the same day, and this is a Sunday, okay, the same day, then they're like, oh, at around 1:45 p.m. rain showers, zilch. Although then I later saw in the news that it actually rained in other parts of Lahore, like Kalma Chowk and the mall and all that side, okay, Mall Road, all that side. And I'm like, okay, so as usual, we're back to that hellhole point where it rains everywhere but here, and every time this happens, I really, really curse the Sharif brothers, Nawaz Sharif, Shahbaz Sharif. I curse their whole family, I curse their whole government, because whether it rained anywhere else in Lahore or not, it always rained in this part of Lahore, okay? This was the greenest, the coolest part of Lahore, and they destroyed the greenery. And this was supposed to be that part of Lahore where you're literally 1 degree to 2 degrees cooler than the rest of the city. And now I feel we're 1 to 2 degrees hotter than the rest of the city. That's how it feels like. Okay, so the humidity levels are high and there's nothing coming out of it. But it seems it rained last night somehow, although the way it's been so hot, I think the only telltale signs were when I saw a few buckets outside filled with water. I'm like, okay, how did that happen? Otherwise, it was completely dry. Everything was completely dry, but early in the morning, there was a sense of coolness. This was the first time that I actually stopped sweating, so I felt okay and relaxed. But then, just a few hours later, cross 8 o'clock, and the humidity begins, and the whole day it was hell. It was hell on earth, okay? Non-stop consecutive sweating. Even while having a shower, you're sweating, okay? Imagine that. You're having a cold shower, but you're sweating. This is the level of humidity. This is the level of heat that humidity is producing, that you're sweating, okay? I had to wash my hair 2 days in a row because I'm sweating. It's so sweltering, and because I've got extremely long hair, you can imagine when you have extremely long hair, you don't know whether to tie them up or let them down, because either way you suffer, and you suffer badly, okay? And this is how it is. This is how it has been the whole day, the whole freaking day up till now. Yes, even now. Even now, despite the fact that it has come down to 33 degrees or 32 degrees, and it's from smoke to cloudy, as in a few hours ago it was showing smoke, and I did feel smoke in the air, yes, but now it's cloudy and I'm actually feeling cool enough. And you know what, that's why I picked up the mic, because I'm actually able to speak now. You can imagine. And I'm still sweating though. I'm still sweating. Okay. But it's much better. It's not the profuse, sweltering, sort of melting, sweat that I've been going through. And the worst part about sweating in monsoon season, it's sticky. You're always sticky. Can you imagine that? I mean, you're having multiple showers a day, you're having multiple baths a day, and you end up still feeling sticky. That is the worst feeling ever, okay? That is how bad it is. And everybody's blaming the war as well. And yes, yes, that shows people have enough common sense to be able to do, to be able to do the math, to have 2 plus 2 equals 4, because that's exactly it. Can you imagine that the hottest it used to be in Lahore was like 42 degrees, okay? And now it goes up to 48 degrees, 47 degrees. 48, 47 degrees used to be the hottest temperature in the hottest deserty parts of Pakistan. Now they have crossed 50 degrees. They're going all the way up to 52 degrees. And we're going all the way up to 47 degrees. And then the worst part, that used to be the coolest part of Lahore now feels like the hottest part of Lahore, with scanty to zero rainfall. I don't even know why, seriously. It's as if a whole bunch of sinners decided to reside here. It's like God punishing everybody. Oh, this is a sinful place. No rain for you people. Frack it. I'm so sick and tired of this. I am so sick and tired of this. And again, they're showing that we're going to have rains 3 days in a row, as in tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and Thursday, right? If I got it right. Or maybe it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. No, it's definitely Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I shouldn't say tomorrow, I should say today, right? But let's see if it actually rains in this part. No, most probably the clouds are just going to either pee on us or they're just going to spit. And that's it. That's the level of rain we're getting here, okay? If we ever do get. And it's literally a second, literally a spit. Like when they were saying T-storms and all on Sunday, throughout the day, we literally had 1 second, literally 1 second worth of a spit from the sky. And I'm not even exaggerating, seriously. If anything, I'm probably underplaying it. I'm downplaying it. Imagine that. And who's to blame? I mean, listen, we all know that the Earth's evolution, blah, blah, blah. And as I've said it before, global warming is actually historically also part of the Earth's evolution. It's like how the Ice Age came and then it all melted and then so it's all that, fine. But exacerbating this whole process is the humankind. When they started puncturing holes in the ozone layer, and they didn't give two hoots about it. And then they started polluting the sea, which they're still doing, the sea, the ocean. They think, because it's a whole vast body of water, everything that we put in it will somehow or the other, just to get naturally recycled. No, all the poisons, all the toxins that you're putting, it's not only killing off the animals or poisoning them and in turn poisoning us, but then remember, what is your whole rain? It's your water cycle. Remember the water cycle that we studied at school? Yeah. Water from the earth evaporates, goes up, forms clouds, they condense, the rain pours down again. This is your recycling actually going on. Your seawater is recycling. It's going up in the sky and it's coming back down as rain. Okay, so that's actually the earth recycling its own water. And you've just poisoned it, so it's recycling the same toxins over and over again. Add to that, as I said, you've already punctured your ozone layer in different places all over the world. Thank you so much, boomer generation. That wasn't enough. Now we've got that same mofo generation waging war. They've got nothing better to do. As I've said before, remember, everything that I said came to pass and it's coming to pass, and you can see how America is just jumping into the war. Where again, people, where are your voices? Where is your free world? You're not a free world. You never were, as I've said it before. You are actually the biggest colony of the British, of the European. You're idiots, you're freaking idiots, morons. But more than that, your government is the biggest traitor of your own people. And that is why they're always planting traitors in other people's countries like ours. Yeah. And remember, I told you that our army, isn't trustworthy. So you don't be too happy. Don't come up to me and say, "Oh, look, the army is, they do after all know how to survive, and they do know that it would be the last straw on the camel's back if they actually worked with America and attacked Iran, and that is why they've reneged on it." But listen, I do not trust the army an iota. Who knows on the above, just superficially, they're probably saying, "Oh yeah, we're with Iran," and they're humiliating Israel on the UN and blah blah blah. But on the inside, they will give their bases to the Americans, right? And then what will happen? The Americans will wage war on our soil. It's the same thing. It's like how the Americans are using Syria to wage war against Iran. And so people are blaming. I mean, not people, but the BBC will always announce, "Oh, Syria is attacked." It's not Syria that's attacked by Iran; it's the American bases in Syria that's being attacked by Iran. And as I said even before, that you remember in one of my podcasts, I specifically mentioned how the countries that the U.S. and the British sanctioned, thinking that they could ostracize them and get them to be stunted technologically speaking, economically speaking, and remember what I said? Those countries are actually going to prove to you that they are more powerful than you because they have lived decades without depending on other countries. America depends the most on other countries, by the way, and Israel depends entirely on the Western world because Israel has nothing to its name, remember? So now you can see that where you were, that also shows what a big fat liar America and the Western media have always been, where they kept on and on giving you this false narrative of how powerful Israel is and how powerful their technology is and how powerful their military is. Look, they couldn't even last 2 hours. They couldn't even last 2 hours in front of Iran. That same Iran that was sanctioned and ostracized by the same Western world for decades. It's a laugh, isn't it? And this is why I keep on and on saying that the whole drama that has been played out by the Western world has been brainwashing their people with false narratives. The Muslims are bad, the communists are bad, the Middle Eastern royal families are bad, the Chinese are bad, the North Koreans are bad, the Russians are bad, everybody's bad, and the Africans are poor, they live in huts, yeah? And that is it. And the whole world is basically just Europe and America. That just shows how stupid, again, as I said, you all are. Because, first of all, if there's anybody who's truly bad in this world, it is America and Europe. They are the true villains throughout history, as I've even said this many times before. If you look at history, you would know that historically, Europe and America, they have always been the villains. They can rewrite history and create false narratives all they want, but that does not undermine the fact that they have always been on the wrong side of history. They have always been behind every single genocide that has been committed, every single war crime that has been committed. They are behind all the wars. They literally provoke and instigate wars, like they've been doing so. And Israel, you keep on now pretending as if you're victims of Israel and that Israel owns America and this and that. No, as I've said before, Israel is a product. It is a product of the joint efforts of the British and the Americans. And in between, Germany played a little part too, but then it sort of backtracked and suddenly went pro-Palestine, And that is all during Hitler's time, by the way. So Hitler was working with them first and it's like, okay, yeah, fine, let them try and settle. And then Hitler suddenly decided to go pro-Palestine and speak out against how the British people were forcing occupation on Palestine through Israeli settlers using a very prominent Israeli political and financially strong family, right? We all know who that is. If you don't, read your history. So here we are, and yes, I know in my last episode I talked about how Khomeini is the target, but yeah, it's actually Khamenei who's the target. The reason I call him Khomeini is because to me he's no different from Khomeini, to be honest. So I keep on forgetting that Khomeini actually died in 1989, and then he was preceded by Khamenei, right? So to me, he's still Khomeini. I don't know why. So forgive me for that mistake that I will keep on making, most probably. But yeah, so he, remember I said he's the target, and now you can see that after all, when all the layers of all the superficial excuses are pulled out, you find out he is indeed the target. But he also made a very chilling speech, which is also true, which the people of Iran, who, by the way, another false narrative that the Americans were trying to show their people that, oh, you see, the Shah of Iran, the king of Iran, who was actually an American puppet, like Saddam Hussein. He was, the loved by the people, and this revolution was against the people. And also, the people have come out in the streets and said that you attack our leader, you're attacking us, you know. So that has once again, Trump can lie all he wants. The American media, BBC, they can lie all they want. But the fact is, the people of Iran are united under their leader against America. And not only that, the people of Iraq too. Because see, as I said before, you need to understand that the Muslim Ummah is not a myth. It doesn't matter how many political mercenaries you hire and place as so-called leaders of these Muslim countries, just because you're so scared of the Muslim Ummah, of the Muslim unity, that you're constantly spending so much wealth, you're investing so much time, energy, and money and resources on maintaining division between the Muslim countries. But you see, at the end of the day, this division is superficial. Why? Because it's only the leaders that you've planted who are steering their countries whichever way you want, or steering their military whichever way you want. But the people, and that is the bulk, the people are the actual population. I mean, look at a fistful of your mercenaries, and then look at billions and billions of a sea of Muslims. The Muslim people are always united. We will always stick with Iran, even though, as I mentioned last time, that you need to remember that Iran and Afghanistan, politically speaking, are not even our allies. They never even accepted Pakistan until very much later. And yet these are the same countries who always sought refuge in Pakistan whenever things went wrong, and they still do. So politically, they were allies of India, and so they were not allies of Pakistan. But because we're Muslims, you see, this is the bond of Muslim unity. It doesn't matter what your leaders do or do not do, whether they're politically against each other or not, whatever their allegiance is. But as Muslims, we're all one. We all become one. It doesn't matter what our leaders say on platforms, or whatever Americans and they have deals. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're African. It doesn't matter if you're Middle Eastern. It doesn't matter if you're Asian. It doesn't matter wherever you are from. As long as we're Muslims, we're all together. Any Muslim will be offended. It will be a personal offense to us if you attack any Muslim country. And that is why it has been a personal offense to the whole Muslim world that you have been attacking and occupying Palestine, and then you have been attacking and occupying Kashmir in India. Right? Wherever Muslims are being mistreated, it is taken as a personal offense by all the other Muslims all over the world. And we berate our leaders when they refuse to comply with the Islamic law of jihad, because it is incumbent on every Muslim leader to declare jihad against an oppressor that oppresses or attacks or occupies another Muslim state. And this is why, even though our army will again be playing duplicitous role, as I said, don't be too happy. Don't think Asim Munir knows which way his bread is buttered. No. It is his survival skill that he would pretend to be on the up and up and show the Pakistani people that no, look, I'm with Iran. I'm with you people. I'm with Iran. Okay, I won't go against you on this, because he knows he and his whole family can be killed literally for this. But on the other side, as I said, he will secretly help the Americans, if nothing else, but by giving them their bases, which Imran Khan refused, if you remember. And Iran, who was so confident about Pakistan that, yeah, you know what, you attack us, Pakistan will attack you. I don't know if Iran actually said that, because to be honest, I haven't heard Iran saying it. So I don't know who spread this. If it is indeed something that they said, please do tell me, because I have not found any actual reference. I've just heard Indian journalists and Americans, and we know that Indian and American journalists are not reliable. We know that by now, right? Especially Indian journalists. If anything comes out of their mouth, you just cannot rely on it. You have to do your own research. Similarly, if the BBC and CNN are saying something, you cannot rely on it. You have to look for an alternative news agency to find out what the heck is actually happening or who the heck said what. Right? Because as far as I know, Iran would not say that. As far as I know, Iran would always say that, okay, you attack us, we'll blindside you so bad you wouldn't know what hit you. And that is actually what Iran did say. And Iran has attacked American bases as promised, and Iran has proved how powerful it is. As I said, that within hours Israel started crying. Well, hello, who told you? Who told you to attack Iran? What you did was a blatant disregard and violation of the international law. You trespassed upon another country. You attacked another country for no reason whatsoever. That country did not even say or do anything to you. That country did not even, I mean, seriously, it's not like Iran went and bombed the bejesus out of Israel, but now they're doing it, and, kudos. We're all celebrating it, like it or not. And you know why we're celebrating it? Because enough is enough. America and Israel have wreaked havoc. And as a result, look at the freaking heat that we're living in, okay? Just look at the temperatures, look at the climate. War increases heat, in case you didn't know that. And the fact that it is in such close proximity to where we are, it's in the freaking Middle East and Gulf region, thank you very much. Literally a 2-hour difference from where we are. You can imagine how that's affecting the climate in this region. You can imagine that despite the fact that there is so much humidity that you can literally smell the moisture in the air. Can you imagine? You can actually smell and taste the water in the air, and yet it's not freaking raining, and it's freaking monsoon. You know what monsoons are in Pakistan normally? Never-ending rains. Never-ending humidity, but never-ending rains with then cool breezes, followed by humidity, followed by rain, followed by cool breezes, followed by humidity. Rinse, repeat for 2.5 months. And right now we're getting zilch. Karachi, that has never seen heat, is now literally getting the temperatures of Lahore. Lahore is getting the temperatures of the desert areas of Punjab. The desert areas of Punjab are now getting the temperatures of the Middle East. This is how much it has increased. Imagine that where Lahore, as I said, used to see 42 at the very, 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 very hottest, and that was like record-breaking hot days. You would go up to 45. And now every day is like freaking 45. And it feels like freaking 47, 48. It even went up to 47, 48, So Karachi, that never went above 35, 37. And for them, even that was supposed to be hot. But Karachi was never hot. They never came to Lahore because they couldn't bear the heat of Lahore, which was then 42, 43 degrees. So now imagine that 42, 43 degrees is Karachi's temperature. It's a coastal city, for crying out loud. Ever had a coastal city rise up to that much in temperatures? They always have cooler nights. They have rather humid days, but they have cooler nights. But now they're not getting that, and they're not even getting rains. They're a freaking coastal city, and they're not getting rains. We're not getting rains. As I said, I don't care for those showers in different parts of Lahore. I know that my part of Lahore, where it always used to rain, no matter what, even if it never rained in any other place, it would always rain, and properly. And now for years on end, we're not getting proper rain. And as I said, I was so happy thinking that maybe this time it's going to be different. We're going to get normal rains again, because we started off on a very good pre-monsoonal rain before the Eid. We had very good rains, and I was like, oh, this is a good sign. It means I can look forward to having a normal monsoon. But no, thanks to freaking mother fudging Israel and its mother fudging United States, we're sitting here in this sweltering mother fudging heat. You know what? You want world peace? As I've said a million times, remove America and Europe from the equation. Israel will automatically die out, because, as I said, Israel, as now you can see, despite all the myths that were created by the Western world and the Western media regarding Israel's power, you can now see that Israel really has no power. It has nothing. It never had anything. Whatever power it has always exercised was using the United States weapons, United States technology, United States resources. I don't care what you say about Israel's technology. Israel's technology is also most of the time stolen from the United States or taken from the United States, and then they just tinker a little bit with it and, advance one or two things a little more, or, customize a few details, et voila. But essentially it is dependent on the Americans. It is dependent on the American government. It is dependent on the American economy and on the American weaponry. Okay, so yeah, that is why it needed America to intervene. And you know what? Throughout this time, how do you think it has maintained its aggression in Palestine? It has had constant financial and weapons aid from the UK and the US. It has also had aid from Canada, and I have a sneaking suspicion Australia was forced to give in too once or twice. But yes, especially recently, Canada was forced to give aid too. Okay. And by aid, it means it can be resources, it can be financial, it can be weapons, it can be anything of the sort needed for Israel to push on. And as I said, you think that Israel owns America? Forget about the lobbies, okay? Forget about the political lobbies, forget about the Jewish lobbies that are controlling the Americans. No, 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 no. The Zionism, this whole state of mind of Zionism, it is literally Nazism part 2, okay? So it's Nazi 2.0, that is your Zionist. They're one and the same. And who were the Nazis? Your European friends, okay? Not just the Germans. No, no, no. The Germans may have been credited the name, but let me tell you that the British and the Americans were no help to the Jews. Remember, it was the Muslims who gave refuge to the Jews. It was the Muslims who helped the Jews, okay? The Americans did not give refuge, and the British obviously didn't. And that is how the British, in fact, what they did, as I said, Israel is a product. It is a product of the British strategy of maintaining control over Palestine. So all the Jews that they were persecuting in Europe, they just decided to manipulate them and throw them onto Palestine. Remember, wherever there is conflict, Britain can maintain control. If there is no conflict, Britain will create a conflict, like how Britain created the conflict of Kashmir to maintain control over the subcontinent. It created a conflict in Sudan, breaking it into two. America created a conflict in Korea, breaking it into two. You understand? You get my drift? In Africa, most of the countries remain conflicted. Again, not most, and I don't mean conflicted in the sense that they're all warring. No, no, political conflicts in the sense that they have a political problem, just like Pakistan, very similar to Pakistan and to Iraq and other countries. This is again because these are former colonies of the French and the British, So there you are. And this war is something that, as I told you, America has been dying to, mete out. But let me tell you one thing, as I said 1,000 times before, this war is the war that is going to be America's demise. Not just America, Europe, Israel. They're courting their own demise. The more they keep on and on forcing the war onto the world, when the whole world will respond, and that is exactly what's going to happen. You see, it's not going to be like World War I and World War II, where you at least had some sort of a sides. No, this time you will see the whole world will be on one side, and Europe and America will be alone, isolated on the other side, because you are the villains. Okay, your governments, that is, the American and European governments, they are the villains in World War I, World War II. It doesn't matter They are basically the villains of the story every single time. And even now, they are the villains. They are the ones that are going around provoking wars all over the world, warmongering to make money, you know. Drugs and warmongering. These are the two ways that the British, especially the British and the Americans, these are the two ways that they sustain themselves financially, you know. So I really do wish at this point that somebody can just seal Israel and America and, literally just put them in a box and seal them shut so that I can get some freaking rain here, okay? Because this heat, this never ending humidity, this never ending sweat, which doesn't seem to dry no matter what, yeah. If nobody does something about it, I myself might actually go and be obliged to explode the two countries to smithereens just to get my freaking rain. This is me signing out. Khuda Hafiz.